If you're a man in your 60s or older, I want you to really tune in, because what I'm about to share could completely shift the way you feel about your health, your energy, and your masculinity. Too often, men chalk up the slow decline in their sexual vitality to things like age, bad genetics, or choices they made long ago. But what if the true issue is something far simpler and right in front of you at every meal? Here's the truth. Countless men over 60 are unknowingly depriving their bodies of what they need for healthy erections, not because of bad habits, but because of key nutrients they're missing. And this quiet deficiency is stealing away their strength, their confidence, and the intimacy they deserve. I'm Dr. Edward Marks, a board-certified urologist who's been working with men for more than 3 decades. I've seen firsthand how the right changes, even small ones, can bring back the vitality most thought was gone for good. Through years of working with patients and diving into the science, I've found something surprisingly effective. You don't need another bottle of pills. You don't have to settle for this slow fade. The answer may lie in 5 ordinary vegetables, each backed by research, each shown to enhance circulation, support natural testosterone, and revive strong, dependable performance in men over 60. In just a bit, I'll walk you through all 5, what they are, how to eat them, and when they work best. And stay with me until the end, because I'll share one specific vegetable that's incredibly effective when eaten before bed, a game changer for overnight hormone support and morning results. This could be the moment you stop accepting decline and start reclaiming your strength. Now, before we dive in, if you haven't already, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. I share real, down-to-earth health advice just for older men, and I don't want you to miss what's coming next. And if this resonates with you, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 and let me know what topics matter to you. Your input helps me help you better. All right, let's get into it. We're not talking about rare superfoods or overpriced supplements. These are everyday vegetables you can pick up at any local market, but when you use them the right way, they can deeply impact your blood flow, hormone levels, and overall energy. Let's begin with the first one, a vegetable you may already have in your fridge. It's one of the most underappreciated tools for boosting blood flow naturally and safely. Beets. I'll never forget one of my longtime patients, a retired principal named Walter. He was 68, a man who carried himself with pride, but when he came into my office, I could see the weight in his eyes. He leaned in and quietly said, "Doc, everything else in my life feels pretty normal, but down there, it's like something's just shut off. I eat clean, I go for a walk every morning, but when it's time to be close with my wife, it's like my body doesn't show up." That moment stuck with me, because I've heard it time and time again from men just like Walter. Men who were doing all the right things, yet still found themselves slowly losing a part of their identity they used to take for granted. And here's what I told him, the same thing I'm going to tell you. It's not your age that's the issue. It's your circulation. Erections depend almost entirely on healthy blood flow. And by the time a man hits his 60s, the plumbing, not the passion, is usually the problem. If the arteries are stiff or narrowed, there simply isn't enough pressure or volume to create and maintain a firm erection. That's where beets come into play. Beets are one of the richest natural sources of dietary nitrates compounds that your body transforms into nitric oxide. Nitric oxide helps open up your blood vessels, relaxes the inner lining, and allows blood to move more freely. In simple terms, more nitric oxide equals better circulation, and better circulation means stronger, more reliable performance. And this isn't just theory, it's backed by science. Clinical studies have shown that the nitrates in beets can improve heart health, reduce blood pressure, and enhance oxygen flow throughout the body. For men like Walter, who want a natural solution and don't want to rely on medication for the rest of their lives, beets can be a real turning point. And here's something important: as we get older, our bodies naturally make less nitric oxide. That's one reason why so many men begin to notice not just weaker erections, but also lower energy and mental fog. Beets help close that gap. They provide your body with the raw materials it needs to get that inner engine running again. Personally, I recommend beet juice for the quickest impact, around half a glass, 3 to 4 times a week. But roasted or steamed beets work great too. Pair them with a drizzle of olive oil for better nutrient absorption. Some of my patients toss them into smoothies with apples or carrots to create a simple but powerful drink that supports their circulation and not just below the belt. Walter gave it an honest shot. Within 6 weeks, he walked back into my office with a brighter spark in his eye. He said his sleep was deeper, his morning walks felt lighter, and he was laughing more often. Most importantly, he said, "Doc, I feel like myself again." And I didn't expect that from something so simple. That's what this is all about. If you've noticed a shift in your body, slower mornings, less desire, less drive, just know this: your body hasn't quit on you. It just needs better fuel. Beets might not be glamorous, but inside that dark red root is a natural solution your body instinctively knows how to use. This isn't medicine. It's food doing exactly what it was designed to do, helping you feel alive again, one beet at a time. And while we're on the topic of overlooked vegetables with impressive benefits, the next one might surprise you. It's the same leafy green Popeye relied on, but not just for muscle. This humble vegetable packs a powerful punch when it comes to testosterone and circulation, especially in men over 60. Once you understand how it supports your body, you'll want to make room for it on your dinner plate tonight. If you're still with me and this message is striking a chord, type the number 1 in the comments. It tells me you're ready to reclaim your strength and show up fully for this next chapter of life. Let's talk about the second vegetable, spinach, nature's energy and vitality booster. Most people associate spinach with cartoons or those childhood meals we pushed around the plate. But to me, spinach represents something far greater: vitality, blood flow, and a steady return to energy. It reminds me of Carl, a 72-year-old widower who'd recently found love again and gotten remarried. He came into my office with a soft smile, but a heavy heart. "Doc," he said, "I'm lucky to have this woman in my life. I never thought I'd get another chance at love, but I'm worried. What if I can't keep up with what my heart wants? What if I'm not enough?" That moment hit hard, because so many older men carry that same quiet fear, the fear of fading, of not being able to show up fully for the one they care about. But what I've learned over the years is this: sometimes the solution doesn't lie in a prescription bottle. Sometimes it's as simple as what ends up on your fork. Spinach is one of the most powerful yet underrated foods for sexual health and vitality. It's rich in magnesium, a mineral that helps relax blood vessels and improve circulation. And when blood flows better, so does everything else. But spinach also supports testosterone, the hormone that drives male energy, confidence, and sexual desire. As we age, testosterone levels naturally decline, but magnesium helps stabilize those levels in a gentle, natural way. And there's more. Spinach is loaded with folate, a B vitamin that promotes healthy blood flow to the pelvic region. Low folate levels have been linked to erectile dysfunction, particularly in older men. Folate also reduces inflammation and supports nerve function, all of which are crucial when you're working to revive intimacy and energy. I told Carl to keep it simple. Toss a handful into his morning eggs, saute it with garlic at dinner, add it to soups, or blend it into smoothies with banana and almond milk. No need to overhaul his diet, just small, steady changes. 2 months later, he walked into my office with a completely different energy. He looked brighter, more grounded, and he told me, "Doc, I feel like I'm finally waking up. I'm more present. I feel capable again." And that's the beauty of it. Sometimes, the smallest shifts, like adding spinach to your routine, can make a big difference in how you show up for life, for love, and for yourself. And just a few nights ago, something shifted for Carl and his wife. No pressure, no hesitation, things just worked. It was like his body suddenly remembered how to respond. That right there is the quiet strength of nutrition. Not in flashy diets or mystery supplements with labels you can't even pronounce, but in simple, whole foods that connect with your body's natural rhythms. Spinach may not look exciting, but it delivers. Each time you add it to your plate, you're sending your body a message. I'm still here. I still want to feel alive. I still want to connect. And look, if you're skeptical, I understand. Maybe you've tried things in the past that didn't work. But real food doesn't fake results. It won't promise miracles overnight, but it can deliver lasting change if you're patient and if you stay consistent. Now, we've talked about blood flow and testosterone, but what if there was a food that goes a step further, not just supporting your circulation, but actually helping to clear the very arteries responsible for your performance? A vegetable that's been used for centuries as a natural enhancer of energy, vitality, and, yes, desire. The next one isn't sweet, it isn't sexy, but it's sitting in your kitchen right now, waiting to get to work. Let's talk about it. Vegetable 3. Garlic, nature's circulation root. Let me be straight with you, garlic doesn't exactly scream date night. It's bold, it lingers, and no one's rushing to have garlic breath. But hear me out. There's a reason this humble bulb has stood the test of time, and I want to share a story that might shift your perspective for good. A while back, I worked with a patient named Raymond. He was 74, a retired Navy vet. Still had that upright, confident walk, but his eyes told a different story. He wasn't frail, he wasn't sick, but he felt unseen. "Doc," he said, "my mind is still sharp, but my body just isn't keeping up. I feel like I'm disappearing." We talked about his habits, his meals, and then I gave him a suggestion that made him laugh out loud. "Garlic?" he said. "That's what my mom gave me when I had a sore throat." I smiled. Exactly. She was onto something. But garlic does more than fight colds. It may also help restore your vitality where it matters most. Garlic contains a compound called allicin, the very thing responsible for its pungent smell and its powerful effects. Allicin enhances blood circulation, helps reduce plaque buildup in the arteries, and keeps blood vessels relaxed and open. And that includes the arteries responsible for sexual performance. You see, as we get older, our blood vessels tend to stiffen. Plaque builds up, restricting flow, especially to the areas that rely on consistent high-pressure circulation. Garlic acts like a natural scrub brush, helping your arteries stay supple and clean. And this doesn't just help your heart or brain, it supports the very foundation of a strong, lasting erection. At the root of a strong, dependable erection is one simple truth. Blood must move freely without blockage, without resistance. Garlic helps unlock that by improving circulation. But it doesn't stop there. Garlic also plays a surprising role in hormone production. Studies have shown it can increase the release of luteinizing hormone, a natural trigger that tells your body, "Hey, it's time to make more testosterone." And testosterone, as you know, is the engine behind libido, stamina, and sexual drive. Ray wasn't totally convinced, but he was open-minded. So I suggested he start small, just 1 or 2 cloves of raw garlic a day. The key, I told him, is to chop it and let it rest for about 10 minutes before eating or cooking with it. That short wait allows the allicin, the active compound, to fully activate. That's the difference between simply consuming garlic and unlocking its real power. We also talked about timing. Garlic tends to work best when eaten with dinner. That way, it gets to work overnight, supporting blood vessel repair and hormone production while you sleep. And that's critical for those early morning erections that so many men start to lose after 60. 6 weeks later, Ray walked back into my office, but this time, his energy was different. He smiled before he even sat down. "Doc," he said, "I didn't think something so simple would make such a difference, but I feel recharged. My wife's noticed it too. I've been more affectionate, more engaged, and this past weekend, let's just say we didn't need the television to enjoy our night." That's what I want for every man watching this. Not just a physical response, but the spark. That moment when you feel like you again. Garlic isn't a cure-all, but it's a tool. A safe, natural, and powerful one that works with your body, not against it. You don't need to reinvent yourself to reclaim your confidence. You just need to remove what's in the way and let your body do what it's meant to do. Garlic helps clear that path, starting with your arteries and ending with the confidence you carry into every part of your life. But while garlic helps with blood flow and hormone signaling, what if there was a vegetable that could gently flip the switch on testosterone itself? Not by repairing blood vessels, but by reminding your body how to be a man again. This next vegetable probably doesn't look like much. You've likely passed by it in the store without a second thought. It's light green, crunchy, and not the first thing you'd associate with masculinity. But inside this simple stalk is one of nature's most subtle, effective tricks for boosting male vitality, and it can work faster than you might think. Let's dive into it. Vegetable 4. Celery, the quiet testosterone booster. There's probably a bunch of it sitting quietly in your fridge drawer right now. Maybe shoved behind heavier groceries, maybe forgotten altogether. But this unassuming veggie holds secrets most men have never heard, and I think you'll want to hear what's next. But if you're a man over 60 and you've noticed your energy slipping, your drive dipping, and your confidence fading, then this modest-looking stalk might just be the boost you've been looking for. I'm talking about celery. Now, I know what you might be thinking, celery? Seriously? It's the crunchy afterthought next to a sandwich or the thing we smear with peanut butter. But here's the truth. Celery holds a surprising secret one that many men have never heard. It contains natural compounds that may help shift your hormonal gears back into balance and support testosterone in subtle but meaningful ways. Let me share the story of George. He was 66 when we first met, tall, reserved, once a high school football coach. He said to me, "Doc, I don't feel like myself anymore. I don't get out of bed with the same energy. I'm dragging through the day, and it's affecting everything, even things I don't want to admit." When we checked his labs, his testosterone levels were lower than ideal, though not unusual for his age. He didn't want shots or medication. "I just want to try something natural," he said. That's when I brought up celery. I explained that it contains 2 unique plant-based compounds, androstenone and androstenol natural pheromones, that influence how your body manages testosterone. They can even impact how others perceive you, not just how you feel, but how you carry yourself, your presence. Beyond that, celery is rich in vitamin K, which helps maintain strong blood flow and supports cardiovascular function, both critical for performance and stamina. But there's more. Celery also contains apigenin, a plant compound known for its anti-inflammatory properties. In animal studies, it's been shown to encourage the body to naturally increase testosterone levels, not by forcing it, but by setting the right conditions internally for hormone production to thrive. George took that advice seriously. He started juicing celery each morning, blending it with apple, lemon, and a touch of ginger. He replaced his usual salty snacks with celery sticks in the afternoon. For the first few weeks, nothing dramatic happened. But by the end of the first month, something changed. He walked into my office with more energy. "Doc," he said, "I'm waking up ready again." And my wife noticed. She says, "I've got a little more spring in my step." That kind of progress doesn't come from a miracle cure. It comes from feeding your body the right signals consistently, gently, with intention. Celery isn't flashy. It doesn't shout, but it works behind the scenes, supporting hormone function, boosting circulation, and giving men a steady return to feeling like themselves again. Some of my patients have even told me they feel more clear-headed, more decisive, more grounded after adding celery into their routines. And that's what we're really after here, not trying to become someone new, but reconnecting with the strongest, most capable version of who you've always been. It's about returning to the strongest, clearest version of yourself. So, if you've been feeling a little disconnected from your drive or your vitality, don't underestimate the power of small changes. Sometimes, the tiniest shifts, like adding a single vegetable to your day, can quietly start turning things around. And that's exactly what celery did for many of my patients. But we're not done yet. We've talked about blood flow, hormone regulation, and circulation. Now, I want to introduce one last vegetable, and it's a little different from the rest. It's not leafy or green, and it's certainly not something you'd associate with passion or desire, but it holds a unique combination of nutrients that support fertility, blood flow, and even cognitive clarity. It's sweet, it's crunchy, and odds are, you've never thought of it as a bedroom food until now. Let's talk about carrots, the quiet champion of male reproductive health. If I asked you which vegetable helps eyesight, you'd probably name carrots without hesitation. But here's something most people don't know. That same root vegetable can help improve performance in a completely different area of your life, one that may matter even more as you age. Carrots support blood flow, protect nerves, and help maintain reproductive function. They may not have the hype of exotic supplements or rare herbs, but they've earned their place in the conversation around men's sexual health. And I'll never forget Frank, a 71-year-old retired electrician from Michigan, who reminded me why this matters so much. Frank was a strong, steady man. He'd been married over 40 years and still lit up when he talked about his wife. "We still hold hands," he told me, "but when it comes to being close, my body just doesn't follow through anymore." His voice trembled slightly. "I miss feeling like a man." And that moment stayed with me because he wasn't broken. He just didn't realize how much strength was still inside him, waiting for the right support. That's when I told him about carrots. They're loaded with beta-carotene and powerful antioxidants that help restore the blood vessels and nerves involved in arousal. As we get older, oxidative stress builds up from poor diet, chronic stress, inflammation, and it slowly chips away at function. Carrots help reverse that trend by nourishing those systems at a deep level. But that's just the beginning. Carrots have also been linked to better sperm quality, including count and motility even in older men. Now, you may not be thinking about fertility anymore, but this isn't just about having children. It's about keeping the whole system functioning well, vibrant, responsive, and resilient no matter your age. Carrots are also high in vitamin A and C, both of which are essential for maintaining vascular health, the kind of circulation that supports both brain clarity and physical readiness. And, thanks to their fiber content, carrots also help regulate blood sugar, which is a bigger deal than most realize. Because when blood sugar spikes and insulin resistance creep in, it doesn't just affect your energy. It can directly impact erection quality and hormonal balance too. Blood sugar fluctuations and insulin resistance are two of the most overlooked drivers of erectile challenges. As we get older, stabilizing those levels becomes essential, not just for energy, but for maintaining sensation, strong circulation, and hormonal integrity. These are the silent foundations of not just performance, but satisfaction. Frank understood this. He began snacking on raw carrots in the afternoon. He roasted them at dinner with a splash of olive oil and crushed garlic. Some mornings, he'd juice them with crisp apples and drink it before his walk, a quiet habit that nourished more than just his body. Within weeks, I noticed a shift. He moved with more ease. His voice had a lighter tone, and when he shared, "We've reconnected," and not just emotionally. There was something new in his expression, not just relief, not just happiness, pride. That's the potential of real food. It won't change your life overnight, but with intention and consistency, it can support something deeper, not just the mechanics of intimacy, but the quiet self-assurance behind it. For men like Frank, and maybe for you, that kind of confidence is worth everything. And the truth is, you don't need to reinvent your life to reclaim it. Sometimes, your body isn't breaking down. It's just been waiting for the nourishment it no longer receives. Carrots are a reminder that renewal doesn't always come from high-tech labs. Sometimes it comes from what grows quietly beneath the soil. Now, up to this point, we've looked at 5 powerful vegetables that work during the day, enhancing circulation, supporting hormone balance, and recharging overall vitality. But there's one more I've saved until the end. And it's different. This one isn't for breakfast or lunch. It's designed for night, because your body does something extraordinary while you sleep. It restores, it rebuilds, it produces testosterone, it repairs blood vessels. For men over 60, those nighttime hours are crucial, either a time of recovery or a further decline. And what you eat before bed could tilt the scale one way or the other. This final vegetable is simple. It's often ignored, yet it may be the most important one on the entire list, especially if you want to feel stronger in the morning, clearer in the mind, and more connected in every part of your life. That vegetable is asparagus. One man in particular comes to mind when I think of this. His name was Walter, 75 years old, retired from a lifetime of accounting. Soft-spoken, thoughtful, the kind of man who rarely shared how he felt. But during one visit, after reviewing his lab results and noticing his testosterone had dropped further, he paused. And with quiet honesty, he said, "I just want to feel useful again. You know, like I still have something real to offer." That moment stuck with me, because I knew Walter wasn't just referring to being useful around the house. He was talking about connection, closeness, intimacy. The kind of presence that makes a man feel truly alive. So I asked him to try something new. Not a prescription, not a supplement, just a simple shift in his evening routine. I told him to start including steamed asparagus with dinner a few times a week. Lightly sautéed, not mushy, with a drizzle of olive oil and a touch of sea salt. It sounded too easy to make a difference. But here's the part most people don't realize. Asparagus is packed with nutrients that work with your body's natural nightly restoration process. It's high in folate, which promotes healthy blood flow and supports nerve function. It contains glutathione, a strong antioxidant that helps protect delicate tissues from oxidative stress, the kind that interferes with performance as we age. And it's rich in vitamin E, a nutrient tied closely to testosterone regulation and healthy hormone levels. What makes asparagus unique is how it works behind the scenes while you sleep. Testosterone production peaks overnight, especially in the early morning hours. But if your body lacks the raw materials it needs, that wave of hormone release never crests. And that's often how fatigue, low libido, and that creeping sense of fading manhood begin, not with a bang, but a quiet drift. When Walter returned for his next visit, I saw the change before he even said a word. He moved differently. His face looked more vibrant, and when he finally spoke, he said, "Doc, I've been sleeping deeper. I wake up feeling sharper, more ready, not just physically, but in my head. It's like something inside me got topped up again." That's exactly what I want for every man reading this. Not just better sex, a better life. Asparagus isn't flashy, but it works gently and steadily, aligning with your body's rhythm rather than overriding it. It helps prepare you not just for the next morning, but for every moment you've been missing. And if you followed this far, if you've learned about beets, spinach, garlic, celery, carrots, and now asparagus, you might be wondering, what do I do with this knowledge? That's the right question, because understanding is just step one. The real change begins with action. And if you've ever questioned whether your strongest days are gone, then what comes next might just flip the script. Let's wrap this up together. If you followed along this far, I want to take a moment and speak from experience, not just as a health professional, but as someone who has witnessed what time can take from a man and what the right, intentional steps can give back. You've just discovered 6 simple vegetables. No pills, no trends, no shortcuts. Just honest, nourishing food, the kind that speaks directly to your body and helps you regain what you thought was lost. We began with beets, that earthy red root that quietly unlocks better circulation, opening your arteries and helping blood move where it needs to go. It's not glamorous, but it's powerful. And many men I've worked with have been stunned by how quickly they feel the change after a few weeks of beet juice. Then came spinach, a humble green that fuels testosterone, boosts energy, and supports the kind of steady strength that lets you show up fully for the people you love. You don't have to lift weights to feel powerful. Sometimes, real strength is simply the return of your vitality. Garlic caught many men off guard. Most saw it only as flavor in a pan, never knowing it could clean their arteries and support testosterone gently and naturally. But that's what it does, quietly and reliably, just as it has for generations. Celery was perhaps the most understated. It didn't just improve blood flow, it gave men back a quiet confidence, a subtle, hormonal edge that changes how they carry themselves and how the world responds. That internal shift, that's where true transformation begins. And carrots, sweet and familiar, showed us that protection and performance aren't always about novelty. Carrots defend your blood vessels, sharpen nerve function, and help you feel in charge of your body again. When that happens, everything else seems to fall into place. Finally, We ended with asparagus, the nighttime hero. It works while you sleep, feeding your body what it needs to restore testosterone, improve sleep quality, and reset your system from the inside out. For many men, it has quietly revived the kind of mornings they had nearly forgotten were possible. And now, I want to speak to the part of you that might still be unsure. That's perfectly okay. Maybe you're feeling hopeful. Maybe you're cautious. But here's what I want you to know. Aging is not a sentence, it's a transition. And you have far more control than you've been led to believe. I've spent more than 3 decades walking this road with men just like you in their 60s, 70s, even 80s, who found their way back not through drastic diets or magic pills, but through small, consistent acts of care that worked with their bodies instead of against them. I've seen men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s turn their lives around not because they chased the newest supplement or followed a strict regimen, but because they made small, steady decisions that supported their body's natural wisdom to heal, to recover, to thrive. You don't have to overhaul everything overnight. You just need to take the first step. Maybe it's adding beets to your morning shake. Maybe it's tossing spinach into your scrambled eggs, or chopping a clove of garlic into your dinner. One vegetable, one habit, one day, that's how meaningful change begins. Because this journey isn't just about intimacy. It's about reclaiming who you are. It's about feeling present, alive, and connected. Not as someone slipping quietly into the background, but as a man who still has presence, passion, and purpose. Your body hasn't given up. It's simply been waiting for you to give it the nourishment it needs to respond again. These 6 vegetables, they're not just food. They're your toolkit. What you create with them might just be the most fulfilling chapter of your life. So now the choice is yours, and I truly hope you take it not for anyone else, but for yourself. Because you're not running out of time. You're just now stepping into the next powerful part of your story. If anything in this message stirred something in you, if it made you feel understood or encouraged, please consider giving this video a like. It helps more men discover this kind of information right when they need it most. And if there's someone in your life, a brother, a friend, a father, who could benefit from this, don't hesitate to share it with them. You never know what a single message might awaken. I also invite you to share your thoughts below. Which of these 6 vegetables will you try first? What spoke to you most? I read every single comment, and your voice reminds me why this work matters. And if you believe in what we're creating, real, compassionate health guidance for older men, and want to help this message reach further, consider making a small donation. Your support helps this channel grow and brings this message to those who need it most. This isn't the end, it's the beginning. So let's move forward together.